Today I want to talk about a couple survival crops you can grow here in the cold north because you know the world's getting more interesting and you never know what's going to happen, and really we should all be thinking about growing our own food. And if we can do it here on the line of growing zones 4B and 5A, you can do it too. So they recently changed the USDA growing zones and a lot of people got warmer, but we didn't. We're still on the line of zone 4B and 5A, and you can see out there we have a lot of snow to prove it. So right here we have the two survival crops. One of them is potatoes. You're probably really familiar with those. We still have these left. It is the middle of January, towards the end of January, and we still have this many left that we grew this past summer. They've lasted this long. We kept them in cold storage for several months, and now they're starting to sprout. I know sometimes people say you shouldn't eat potatoes once they're sprouted. We're gonna eat a few of these and then have a couple of them just keep growing and see if we can keep them alive until it's time to plant them. But we also dehydrated a bunch of potatoes and froze a bunch of potatoes. So we're gonna be eating our potatoes all winter long. We will not need to buy potatoes, possibly ever again, unless something goes wrong with our crop, knock on wood. They were really easy to grow, so we're not experienced potato growers. This is one of our first times growing them, so this was not our forte, and we grew a ton in a small area of probably 10 by 10. We grew a lot of potatoes. So all we did was buy sprouted potatoes at the store. These are organic. We wouldn't do anything other than organic. And if potatoes are not sprouting in the store, they've been sprayed with a sprout inhibitor that keeps them from sprouting. And those are not, sprout inhibitors are not allowed to be sprayed on organic potatoes. So honestly, you can, if you're in Michigan, Family Fare always has organic sprouted potatoes because people just don't seem to buy their organic potatoes fast enough. So we found organic sprouted potatoes, several bags of them. We cut them up, when it was ready to plant, we cut them up into chunks and let them sit there like that for several days to kind of dry out, and then we planted them deep and kept piling up the dirt around them as they kept coming up, and we didn't really know what we were doing, and we did a great job. Hi, honey. Hi, you making a cameo appearance? And then this is sunchokes. They don't look like much down there. This is a sunchoke, also known as a Jerusalem artichoke. She actually will eat potatoes and sunchokes. She eats mostly meat, but she will eat potatoes and sunchokes. These are an incredible food. These are hard to stop once you start them. We started them several years ago, and every year we dig up a whole bunch, and these are what's left of what we dug up months ago as well. What's great about sunchokes is you can eat them raw, you can eat them cooked, you can dig them up year-round, and they just spread. Like, literally, if I cut off a little tiny piece here and put it in the garden, it would grow, and I learned that the hard way. We would peel them or take little pieces that weren't very big and throw them in the compost or in the garden, and they started growing everywhere. So with these, you actually have to be careful of where you're putting just even a tiny little scrap. A tiny little scrap will grow new sunchokes. And they're in the sunflower family, so they grow really tall with yellow flowers. You may see them, especially if you're in this area in Michigan, you may see them growing on the sides of roads. They're just growing randomly, like in Clare and other places. One of our farmer friends gave us a bunch, and we ordered some offline too. And I just scrub them and just cook them for a little while in the Instant Pot, and they're just so tasty. And they're a prebiotic food too, if you're into nutrition. They feed your gut bugs if they're eaten raw. So these are something that everyone can be growing. We might be able to spare a few in the spring if you're interested in buying them from us, but we are trying to get our patches even bigger and bigger. We have about 3 patches, and then we have them randomly coming up in every garden too on accident. So, you know, we could spare a few if you really want to get them started, but grow these because you can dig them up year-round, as I said. You can eat them raw or cooked, and they just spread. They're perennial. They will just keep growing. So it's something that everyone should be growing at this time. So I hope that was helpful, and happy growing, friends.